7:03 here on Richmond's Morning News. This is NewsRadio WRVA. My name is Rich Herrera. Thanks so much for joining us. Joe doing a great job today. Good job, buddy. We know it's Joe because he's got a big cup that says Joe on it. He's got a cup of Joe. Oh, I just put that together. Oh, that's what it means, a cup of Joe. Oh, all right, see? Went right over my head when you showed me that cup the very first time. Super Dave Ayler as well behind the glass in the studio, and Gary Hess with our updates. Okay, you've been asking for me to comment on this all morning long, so let's get to it. The governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, has now come out in full-throated favor of the redistricting amendment that we now have early voting on. Okay, so let's walk back through this. And if you look at social media, there's lots of quotes from the governor where originally she said gerrymandering was a bad thing when she was a member of Congress. And then as she was running for governor, she goes, I'm going to stay out of this. I'll let the people decide. And she didn't come out on one side or the other on this key topic that has people buzzing throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then when she was elected governor, she signed the bill to spend the $5.2 million on this special election and said, we'll let the people have their voices heard on whether they want to redistrict or not. So that's kind of the progression of where Abigail Spanberger's been. But now, yesterday, new TV ad drops, and you're going to see a ton of it. You're going to see a ton of it over the weekend, especially with all the sporting events going on. This is going to be in heavy rotation. I'll play you the commercial. This is Abigail Spanberger advocating for voting yes for gerrymandering here in Virginia. Take a listen.
I'm Governor Abigail.
She calls it an extraordinary moment because she ran as a candidate that was going to bring us all together. And now she owns it because she's taking ownership of this extraordinary time. Again, folks, I'm going to go with Jonathan Turley. When things are extraordinary, we lean into our founding documents because that's what brings people together. That is the contract we all made with each other, those original founding documents, the laws we have in the books, and most importantly, our Constitution. And the Constitution of Virginia says we don't gerrymander. Extraordinary times mean we really shouldn't gerrymander if we actually believe in that Constitution. If not, the Constitution's just there to be a placeholder until we decide that, well, we know better than the Constitution we all agreed to live by. So now she says extraordinary times. And listen one more time. Take this one little clip where she takes ownership of this. And this is important as we see the maturation of Abigail Spanberger and how she's growing into the governor's office. Take one more listen.
Our approach is different. It's temporary. It preserves Virginia's fair redistricting process into the future.
Our is the important word, our. So if she would have said, this is what's proposed, this is what I'm voting for, but she says our, which means she's taking possession of this. Because remember, she sold voters that she was bipartisan steady and she was going to be different. And now she's backtracking and she's backing a redistricting plan that would lock in one side into power for the next 20 years. That's not campaign language. That's a governing choice by our governor of Virginia. So once again, the people of Virginia who were very leery of her when she took office, rightfully so. We're not sure. We're not sure. I've got a feeling. I said, listen, okay, I need the receipts. I can't just go on my instincts and a Ouija board to tell you and read the situation. You actually need to see a couple plays on film, see the reps, and then you can figure out what's really going on. So with this, she's decided to stand shoulder to shoulder with Louise Lucas and Don Scott. That's not resisting the system. That's not trying to bring people together. That's being part of this system that's been driving people apart. And that's where her brand of a moderate meets a reality of 100% full throat standing with Louise Lucas and Don Scott, who want to have a congressional map that is 10-1 where the elections are fixed. So as you look at this, for the governor who said, I'll work closely with everyone, in reality, she's chosen the map that she wants to follow, and that is not working with everyone. That is having a system that will be fixed and will be rigged for the next at least 3 elections. And again, I'd like to know who drew the maps. And I'd like to know when the real sunset clause on this, because you notice she said this is a temporary fix. So my 2 questions to her are, when is the sunset? When will you guarantee me that those 4 seats that you're going to flip Democratic, you're going to flip blue, will be returned back to the nonpartisan, non-gerrymandered map that the people of Virginia agreed to? Can you guarantee at the end of the day, those maps will go back and our state will be represented 6-5 the way it is today? Because if you can't, then those aren't temporary, those are permanent. And do you think, honestly, anybody who has that congressional seat and has had it for three different terms is going to gladly give up that partisan district and not put up a squawk when they say, hey, listen, by the way, I know we drew it really, really blue because Louise Lucas demanded we have a 10-1 map where we guarantee 10 Democrats will be in office, but I need you to step back off of that and not squawk or not make any noise that we're redrawing your district to make it a nonpartisan district and competitive, and you might not win again. Do you really think if Dan Helmer or someone like that wins, that they're going to stand there and say, oh yeah, go ahead, redraw my district and take it away from me? I don't think so. So again, when she said, I'll work with everyone, that's not working with everyone. She didn't rise above the system. She stepped right into that partisan path that we thought we weren't going to get when she was running. I'd like to get your comments on this. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. So number one, honestly, Governor, I'll ask you this. Where is my guarantee that this is just going to be temporary? Let's say I go along with the whole thing that I'm willing to disenfranchise everyone in Virginia and have fixed elections for the next 3 congressional cycles. Where is the guarantee? Where is the sunset? Where is it written down on this date? The maps will go back to where they are. Because nobody's seen it. Just like nobody's told me who drew these maps. And the other part of all of this is, if I don't know who drew the maps and you can't guarantee me when they're going to go, I'd like to know one other thing. And this is the important thing. I'd like to know when the Constitution became conditional. I'd like to know when the Constitution became conditional, that we have a Constitution. When you take your oath of office, you swear to uphold our Constitution. It's sacrosanct. It's the law of the land. It's the guiding principles. I'd like to know when the principles of the Constitution became temporary, that we can set it aside temporarily because of extraordinary circumstances. When did the Constitution become something that we could decide, well, today's really not the day we want to follow the Constitution. We're gonna put it aside for today. What other circumstances rise to the level that we put aside our Constitution because there's something that came up today that's, well, not Constitution worthy? I'd like to know when we could set aside the Constitution and when do we have to pay attention to it. So if this is the case, then the Constitution really means nothing. If we could just set it aside when it doesn't fit our narrative or our needs today, is our Constitution that fragile because something in Texas happened, something in California happened, and now we'll set aside our Constitution because something in another state happened and our Constitution just can be tossed aside for any reason? The Constitution means something. It's a contract we all have with each other. So does the Constitution not stand for anything? And if that's the case, then why not just rip it up? It either stands for something or it doesn't. It either stands for something every day or it doesn't. It either stands for something when extraordinary times happen, to quote you, or it doesn't mean anything at all. And for me, I'm sorry, that's the agreement that we all agreed to as citizens of this great country and this Commonwealth. We're going to abide by our Constitution. That's a contract we have amongst each other as a society. And if you're willing to put it aside for something like Greg Abbott and Gavin Newsom fighting, then what else are you going to be willing to sidestep around when the Constitution doesn't meet the narrative of some in this Commonwealth? Is it just temporary, or is it real for everybody every day? I'd like to know everybody else's thoughts. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140.